Hello. So my name is Taylor Randolph, and I am going to record a series of videos on the most important things that I learned in my life. These things are what I feel very uh, integral to who I am, but also not just that. These are things that I wish other people knew, things that are kind of swept under the rug in not academia, but in a lot of uh, a lot of our popular culture, and also uh, maybe popular Christianity tends to sweep these things away. And so I think it's important. Our Earth, for what I can tell, at least our society here in the United States, would be on a much different trajectory if this information were common knowledge. And so I feel compelled to do something, to release some information. And I know there are a lot of um, ridiculous videos of people in lab coats and pretend to be doctors. I'm not going to pretend to be a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I did study a lot of theology, a lot of the Bible, a lot of psychology in my lifetime. And so I'm not going to pretend that I am, a linguistic expert, with a PhD. I think that is important. Um, I think that credentials are important, and being able to trace back where you got your knowledge from. And so I'll try to include that in these videos as well. So I'm not just throwing out a priori information that, hey, oh, by the way, this is something that is it just happens to be true. And so, I just feel it's important. The information really centers around Scripture. And so the reason this is important is because for people who are Protestant Christians, they tend to put a lot of emphasis on, and I would classify my upbringing as a Protestant Christian denomination, belonging to a group of Baptists, not Southern Baptist, but I, I know there's a priority on, Scripture being, inspired, some holy, some, inerrant. There are a lot of different ways of looking at Scripture, and many of those don't include a scholarly lens. In other words, an evidence-based lens. What has all of our scientific discipline over all these millennia, and now kind of culminating here in the um, 21st, 22nd century. Um, what does this look like? Moving forward, um, taking into consideration all this information, because what is generally accepted as truth is suspect when you consider and you take the assumption that as things occur today, as our time progresses, as our weather patterns and our lives and our knowledge base and our bounds of human experience are assumed to be the same today as they were 3,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. It requires us to look at things with a refined lens, and not just accepting, oh, that's the way it is. It's kind of like the Easter Bunny or Santa Claus, and we just kind of accept it and go on with it. And that's not a mature way of dealing with our most fundamentally important information upon which we build our lives. And so what I propose at the end of this, hopefully at the end of this series, and hopefully what will emerge, is this emphasis, because this information is so important, because it underlies a lot of our presuppositions, a lot of our prejudices. It's important for us to really shine a light on that, so that we build our lives on a solid foundation, our society on a solid foundation, and not on sand. because there can be this drift away and into acceptance of nonsense. And there are a lot of outlets out there built on, I'm going to get a knee-jerk reaction, so people, because it's a political persuasion, so people buy into my way of thinking. And it's like the blind leading the blind. I mean, there's not really a solid anchor of information on at least one side that I can tell. um Now, you could make some accusations of other sides of positions being not anchored in reality, but one in particular that's really scary, because people are taking up arms and joining militia groups, and it's a scary time. And so, because I have a lot vested in this life, because I have a lot vested in what happens, this to me is the most important information that can rectify, that can remedy a lot of these problems that are happening. And so this is my introduction. I'll leave it at that, and I'll record another video um, tomorrow. What I would like to see, and hopefully this is the trajectory, is first kind of the nature of how we have the Bible, how it's like been like, why is it here? What does it mean? Where did it come from? I think that's important to understand. What does it say? That's something that's really highly debatable. But how do we find out with validity what it says? And what did the author mean when that author wrote it, or authors, when it was written? And how does that translate to now? What contextual issues can we sort out and say that was a part of that culture, and those were not desirable parts of that culture. Those things were not necessarily appropriate or or desirable for us to transcend over into 21st century life. Um, so I'm interested to do this. So I hopefully can get through a series. I'm looking forward to this, and I'm looking forward to just getting it out there. I haven't had a chance to write my book. It's in a lot of different digital formats, and this may be the only way I can get this out. So I look forward to seeing you more.